When it comes to deal making, how exactly do you figure out the scope or the constraints of a pilot? It's different from a traditional enterprise transaction, right? How do you define like the pricing? How long we're going to keep experimenting until the customer actually goes and signs a longer term
So
contract?
we have a meeting to understand their problem, and we do that co-creation of the return on investment. So, everybody needs a little bit of AI. They want AI. So we identify again, how does their organization work? Selena, our AI, can do many, many different things, right? So it's an LM. And so we identify where the biggest bottlenecks are inside their organization. Is it, for example, a data use agreement because you have 5 sites and you need to make sure that the data use for all of your 5 hospitals, the data use agreement for this protocol, because you might have 5 different systems and, and complex. The data use agreement might be your biggest bottleneck in one site. So we basically identify that. We say, here's the return on investment metrics. We co-create that with them. How much time does it take you? Um, how much time would it save you if we reduce that down to X? Then I then get them to co-create the return on investment. So that way they're in the journey and then we implement, we launch them a username and a password and they jump in today. That's how we're doing it. So is they log in and they can upload, or we can do integrations, but they identify their activation requirement and we give them a playbook to their organization, an SOP, so they know how to use it, what the constraints are, and what Selena, our AI, can and can't do, will and won't do, and then how to interact that prompt tips, right? Then if Selena proves that, we have our meetings with them to make sure that Selena is performing and that there's no issues and that any recommendations for our backlog, and we prove that the return on investment, and then they can't live without us. So it not necessarily turns into a longer contract. We again, sites prove they don't pay, so we get them to use the product. We learn. Our model trains. Selena learns from this experience, learns from the data, improves, continuous learning loop. So we gain value from that learning loop. We activate the timelines with a reduced and better quality, and then the sponsors get those signals. So as we go through those sponsor contracts, we turn those into paying sites based on the next protocol. So our engagement strategy is get it into the hands of the users, make them that it does solve their problems and produce results that are high value outputs. And then the downstream, which again is our sponsor, sees that and then adds that into their next contract.